Nick Singh. Did I say it right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Can you give us a little bit of an introduction about who you are, what you do, all of those good things?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I'm Nick Singh. I'll start basically, I was born actually not in America. I was born in Guyana, South America. Um, I came over to the country as a toddler, but I was back and forth growing up. I'm involved in a lot of foundations and sports and stuff. So I'm like, they call me kind of like an entrepreneur type of guy and a philanthropist, where I don't really work besides the Boys and Girls Club of America. I'm a director for them and a Make-A-Wish grantor for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. A lot of things that I do are really kind of like freelancing. I love basically bringing talent to people that are in need and children that are in need. So I've partnered up with some sports teams and some sports athletes in order to do that, whether we work on memorabilia or tickets or just experiences of a lifetime where, I've had players take kids out to games. Um, I feel like every day I'm doing an outreach, especially with like this Corona thing going on. This past week, me and a couple guys, we went out to Randall's Island and we gave out lunches to all the police officers out there, just to thank them for all their hard work. And then this past Tuesday, we also fed about 800 families in Nassau County,
Oh, that's nice.
a lot of groceries and stuff. So, but yeah, I think, to sum that up, the reason why I love to give back and stuff is because, growing up was very challenging for me. I've experienced it a lot of like traumatic situations. And I think in life, it's not about focusing on the problem and the issue. It's more about, well, how are we going to react to that problem? And what are we going to do? Because we all have a story, Joel, all of us have a story. And I think the main thing is, what are we going to do to resolve it, and how are we going to respond to it? And I think if I didn't have those challenges, it wouldn't have made me become the person who I am today.
Yeah.
And be able to help all of these kids and mentor and counsel. So I'm involved in a lot. I'm involved in a lot of youth programs, sports stuff. But I'm learning a lot of different things. I love learning new things. So I've been pretty much keeping myself busy throughout this time.
And so when did you come to the States? What brought you to the States?
Yeah, well, actually, so I like I said, I came as a toddler. So I came when I was 2. I think my family just kind of wanted to get like, have like the better life, because we grew up in like a third world country. But I visited back and forth and stuff. My childhood. It's just, my parents wanted to come here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, because it's not easy raising a child over there, so they came over here to do that.
So it's clear to me by looking at your wall that you really, really hate the Yankees.
I hate them. I'm actually a Mets fan. No, I'm joking. I know you are. Yeah. I'm more of a baseball fan. I appreciate the game of baseball so much. But yeah, of course, I love my Yankees if I had to pick a team.
When you moved to the States, your family go to like New York, Jersey area, or where did you go?
So I was in Queens, moved out to Long Island, like around middle school. So I was raised in Queens. That's one of the 5 boroughs.
And you're a Yankees fan from Queens?
Yeah.
With you?
Yeah, honestly, my father and my uncles, when they came over, they picked up baseball and they started watching the Yankees. But they started watching the Yankees in the late 90s, which is the perfect time, because you have 4 World Series right there. And so, they kind of fed on that. And then I guess as I grew up, I picked up the game, and then I just started watching, and they were always watching Yankee games. So of course I was watching it. And so, yeah.
They corrupted you.
No, yeah. I'm going to say corrupted, but you can say that, yeah, I guess.
That's the beauty of sports. That's how youth sports should be, right? Your parents, and then you take it from them and you
Yeah.
watch it with them and you share that experience. Because I remember watching soccer games, not baseball games in Italy with my dad, and it was like my favorite thing to do. Just I didn't
Yeah.
even care what the game was, just to sit
Yeah.
and watch. Of course. Who's your favorite player as a Yankee?
Uh, current player right now or any player in general?
Any player in general.
Any player in general. Okay, so I have two. I'm gonna go with Mariano Rivera and uh,
Uh-huh.
and Alex Rodriguez for two separate reasons.
Oh,
So
I gotta hear this one.
yeah. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, I wonder why. Okay, so with
Well, I
Mariano.
can see Mariano for sure. Aaron, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, obviously with Mariano, he's very faithful. He really doesn't strive for the glory, but instead he uses his platform to help others. I'm not even talking about the talent between the two players. I know two
Yeah,
they're both historically great players,
yeah, of
but
course.
but Mariano growing up, I watched him. I remember 2009 when he closed out the World Series. I was a kid and I was screaming at my TV. I was like, yo, this is amazing. And fast forward 7 years later, I got the honor to not only meet him, he prayed with me. And we've ran into each other many times at some charity events. And so we know of each other, and it's kind of cool to really see that. But even besides me knowing him, it's just how he doesn't make it about himself. He's very humble about everything that he does. And I think that's what I strive for. Now, when we go to Alex Rodriguez, which is what everybody asks, well, why him? When I look at Alex, again, I look at a guy who did have a very, he grew up similar to me. We definitely had like
Mhm.
a little tough upbringing. It's different upbringing, but it's also
Mhm.
similar in a sense.
Yeah, of course.
And what I enjoy about him is it's he doesn't let the mistakes define him who he is today. And I think, of course, when he, with the roids and all these different stories that you heard when he was playing baseball,
Hmm.
of course he's going to be hated, but if you look at him now, he's a businessman, he's a family man, he settled down. I honestly, like, I think one of my favorite things about him is his relationship with his daughters. Um,
Hmm.
as busy as he is, running businesses and just
Hmm.
traveling all over the world, to see how he treats his daughters and to see the relationship that he still keeps with them, on a constant basis. Like, a father's love to their daughter is like so beautiful to see that. And so I look at him as, you either hate him or you love him, right? And I think if we stop focusing on, because we all make mistakes in our life, but for him, because he had such a high platform, his was so shined on the most because millions of people knew him. So when he made a mistake, millions of people would know, right? And so I think him trying to turn his life around, doing more charity work, you
Yeah.
know, just basically like settling down. I know he's with JLo right now, settling down and, being a family and stuff. I just loved his, you know, I made my mistakes, yes, but I want to turn that around and I want to turn it around for doing good. And I think, between the two, you have Mariano with humbleness and gentleness, and you have Arod with not letting his mistakes and his past define him who he is today. Because we all can make mistakes, but we can turn it around if we really want to. And I think when you combine those two, it's kind of two people that I really like look at the
Yeah,
most.
yeah. No, that's a great way of putting it. So, are you a shortstop or a
No,
third baseman then?
neither. I picked up a baseball when I was in middle school. I started pitching. So throughout high school, I played baseball. I started off as outfield. So I played left field. And then the coach decided, I'll throw some bullpens. And so I threw some bullpen. I played for my travel team. When I played for my travel team in 10th grade, I started some games. And then obviously wear and tear on my shoulder. I really didn't know, like, because unfortunately, I hate to say it, but the way a lot of the coaches are, like, I feel like sometimes they forget the development of players versus the winning aspect. I'm okay with a team being 3-17, but the players are having fun. They're playing up to their capabilities instead of, oh, I need the best player to pitch every single game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened to me. Unfortunately, I had a very inconsistent playing time and pitching time. I remember when I played in 10th grade and 11th grade, I remember I wasn't even allowed to do this. I think I pitched like 3 games in a row, and the coach made a mistake that 3rd game, and I so accidentally started getting wear and tear on my shoulder. I was a lefty, so I started getting wear and tear on my shoulder. And by senior year, my velocity started dropping, and then I ended up getting tendonitis, and then it just hurt a lot. And since baseball days, only thing I played was like men's softball leagues, and I pick up a baseball, and I still I'll still hit. I go to the cages. My friend has a batting cage. I'll still help some high school students with some of their mechanics and stuff. Right before this call, actually, I had my buddy. He used to be a prospect in Major League Baseball. He put together a foundation. He wants me to kind of help with the assisting with the coaching and stuff like that as well, because he coaches as well. So being around the game now but not playing it is it's still something that is near and dear to my heart.
That sounds like a lot of the things that we are encountering while making this movie. It's too much, especially for pitchers. Too much pitching, not enough rest in between pitching sessions. So what you said, you started in middle school, so you were what, 11, 12 years old?
So, okay.
Something like that?
Yeah. So when I grew up in Queens, it was very hard. Baseball wasn't really big there. I had a situation that happened in my family to where I had to move to Long Island. I moved from one parent to the next. My parents aren't together. And so I had to move over to Long Island. And when you're in Long Island, there's a lot of baseball that's played on Long Island, and there's more space. And so when I started, I was actually a member of the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
And one of the interns was at that facility played baseball for a college. And so I just started throwing a baseball around. So I was about 12 when 11, 12 when I picked up a baseball, but I didn't play in a game or basically in a league until I hit high school in 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but picking up a baseball every single day, throwing, hitting and stuff, I started doing that around 12.
Okay. So that's pretty cool. That's more or less what I keep hearing, but there are so many kids today, they start even younger than that.
Yeah.
And they start I had a kid on my soccer team. He would play soccer in the fall, and then he would play spring baseball, because in Las Vegas, that's how it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in New York or in that area.
Yeah.
Because I remember the funny thing with him was, think about this. He was playing soccer with us on a team, on a club team.
Right.
And that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago. So he was 8 years old.
Right.
So he was 8 years old playing full time. I mean, we were practicing, what was it, twice a week or 3 times a week? Twice a week for soccer. And then he was also practicing 3-4 times with baseball. And then in the spring, he would play he would have some games in the fall, because, in Vegas, you can pretty much play all year long because of the weather, year round because of the weather. And I remember that kid was fried. He would go to baseball practice, and then from baseball practice, she would come right to soccer practice.
Yeah.
By the end of the practice, that kid was fried.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? That happens here a lot. A lot. So I think you have 50-50 of it. So a few months ago, with 2 Yankees, CC and Gio Urshela, we did a speaking to a lot of our youth baseball players from my friend's baseball team. So we did this whole speaking, and it's weird because there was definitely a difference. Some parents and some players, like CC was mentioning how, you should get involved in different sports, because at your age, you don't know what you want to do. If you're 11, 12, 13, 14, play football, play baseball, play different sport, play soccer. You don't know, because you can still get a little training from different sports and develop your passion. So I love the idea of being abroad, but then I have heard other players that said if you really want to be a Major League Baseball player, you have to give baseball your 100%, you know, time. Um, some of my kids, some of the kids at the Boys and Girls Club, they play different sports, you know, because they want the different, you know, it basically depends on your goal. If your goal is baseball, you want to play a you know, you want to play Major League Baseball, then I think you should focus on just baseball. You know, even in the off season, because we have winter here, you can still go to indoor academies and you can still
Yeah.
do different trainings. But if you're really just trying to stay fit and be like and explore, you know, play different things. You know, play soccer in this season and baseball in that season and stuff. Um, I loved playing a lot of different sports. You know, I played basketball here and there. I played football, flag football, you know,
Hmm.
so I played cricket. You know, I played cricket when I was younger. So you know, different sports definitely gets your mind going to learning different skills. So I do love that. But look, I'll tell you this. Real quick story. Derek Jeter, he started
Hmm.
t-ball when he was 4. He wanted to play
Yeah.
baseball. He grew up with baseball, so he stuck with baseball. There's an outfielder, I believe he's on the Brewers right now, Lorenzo Kane. Um,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
he's with the
yeah,
Brewers now.
yeah. He's the outfielder
I
for the
may be
Brewers.
wrong, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was with Kansas City now. I believe he's with the Brewers. And what happened was, his story, he didn't pick up a baseball until 10th or 11th grade. Like, that was when he's 16 or 17. So just think about that. Before he was playing other sports, never picked up a baseball, never threw a baseball. All of a sudden, he picks up a baseball in the middle of high school, and now he's a Major League Baseball starting outfielder.
yeah.
So I think it really depends on a lot of different factors. You know, a lot of people, you know, they start young, they don't make it. They start late and they make it. You know, it really it varies
Yeah.
on
There's no.
varies on how you take care of your body as well too. You know.
Well, that's huge because too many things, too many kids today don't do that.
Unfortunately.
If I remember correctly, wasn't Tom Glavine a hockey player too? Wasn't he drafted in the hockey? If I remember
Um,
correctly.
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Tom Glavine is so athletic, man. Like I
Oh, ridiculous! One of my favorites.
yeah, I don't that I'm not sure about, but if he was,
I think it was hockey.
yeah.
I'm almost positive. I mean, of course, now I'm saying this, and then I'm gonna get 50,000 comments saying, "No, you idiot! It was something else." But
Well,
I
look,
think it was hockey. I think it was hockey.
yeah, well, look at Kyler Murray. He plays football now for the
Yep,
Cardinals.
yep, yep, yeah.
He was a first round pick for the Oakland Athletics. I'm like, wait a second, like, how do you go like you're a top prospect for baseball and you're a top prospect for football? So again, like he just had the gifts, man. You know,
Yeah. Well,
so
Buster Posey, right? He played football too for
there you go.
FSU,
There you go.
and uh, and of course one of the famous, besides Bo Jackson, of course, but Deion Sanders, of
Of
course.
course.
But we don't see that anymore.
No,
Double sport at that level, double sports athlete.
I know Tim Tebow's trying. I know he's been in the Mets organization for a little while. He's trying, but besides him, yeah, no, I don't really see the double sports. I think now, obviously too, back then, I know with inflation and stuff like that's also another thing. But I think back then,
Hmm.
like, look at the contracts now. Like
Oh yeah, no,
like Mike Trout is making $400 million. Like, you think he wants to play another sport? He's you know, he could relax, you
yeah,
know.
just like yeah.
But back
Oh
then,
no, for sure. No, golf, of course. Are you kidding me? If
yeah.
you can be at that level of yeah, who cares? Just go hit a ball, go throw a ball, do whatever you want.
But even the contracts, the inflations of pricing and the inflations of these contracts, I don't think
Oh,
players
insane.
players really need to play two sports. Maybe back then you got $100,000 contract, that's a lot, but now you want to make another 100,000, you play another sport. So I think that also
Yeah.
plays a role too. But again, it depends on, you have a family, all of that stuff.
How were how was your family when you were playing? Were they like the ones that rah rah? They're like, come on, let's do this, or they were like, okay, go, I'll see you later. I'm not even coming to the game.
You know what, it's different, man. I actually didn't have anybody come to my games.
Okay.
Like I
Oh,
told
me
you.
neither. My parents never came to my
Yeah,
games.
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't, but no, but not because they didn't care. It's just like
yeah,
it wasn't really done. It's like, okay, go play.
yeah,
It was just
yeah,
one of
yeah,
those.
yeah,
It wasn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
It was
I
a
didn't.
different time.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't really have that, like, I guess, fan support. I kind of just went and played. I know some friends would show up here and there, but no, I didn't have the rah rah family. It was just more you could say the rah rah friends, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, not the family. No.
Well, but some kids would tell you they prefer nobody showing up to their game.
It's yeah, yeah, no, I've seen both. I've seen some some crazy parents screaming at the umpire and screaming at the pitcher hitting their son with a base. So I've seen it all. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that I didn't have anybody. Who knows?
I I think yes. I think you were much better off because I remember I never had to, because I know even, and I was lucky because like I said, my parents never, there was no pressure. Like, you want to play, play. You don't want to play, don't play.
Right.
So, and I always played just for fun because I didn't, my goal wasn't to become a professional athlete, but that it was, I remember even just having them there for 5 minutes when they were about to pick me up or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
you feel it,
Yeah. Yeah.
even
No.
in the most positive way, because I was, of course, I wasn't upset or anything that they were coming. It was so weird to just look up and, oh crap, they're there. Now I have
Yeah.
to be better, or
Yeah.
something
No.
silly.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. So, but everything happens for a reason. I think you learn to adapt to your environment, whether you have family or friends there, or what the case is.
Oh no, for sure. So now, the do you coach somewhere?
No. I so a lot of my sports actually take place this past year. Of course, it hasn't. This entire year with what's going on, but I used to do like clinic sessions and sessions with baseball at my Boys and Girls Club in Long Island.
Hmm.
A lot of my high schoolers, they'll play soccer, they'll play basketball, they'll want to throw a baseball. We'll play volleyball. So I think that right now, if you want to talk anything about coaching, I don't coach a league, I don't coach games. I'm more of kind of like an instructor because I've played a lot of. I mean, I played pickleball. I've played tons and tons of different sports. So teaching kids different skills on how to play different games is where I like what I like to do, and just making up games as I go.
Hmm.
The only my buddy that I just got off the
Hmm.
phone with, him and his coach has been recruiting me to coach again. Only one time, it was for about a year and a half, that I actually did coach baseball.
Hmm.
I coached baseball. I was 18 and 19 years old when I coached a 14 and 15U team. We went to do a tournament in Florida. So I was like an assistant coach. So I really just kind of helped out in where I can. But learning about mechanics and stuff like that, and really just like, if the kids like have practice at school and they come to the Boys and Girls Club and they want extra practice, I'll shoot around with them. I'll throw a baseball with them. And if I see that they need to work on some of their mechanics, I'll help them because I know from experience how to do that. But as of right now, no, I'm not coaching any games. But I'm open to it. I'm always open to new opportunities and stuff like that. I do love the game. I do love sports. Like, sports will always be in my blood. Watching and learning it and stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows what will transpire?
But that sounds like the right mentality, because
Yeah.
I like what you said. I'm an instructor. I teach,
Yeah.
because I think coaching is teaching.
Yeah.
Coaching, I mean, of course, at the professional level, it's a little more facilitating than
Of
really,
course.
because of course they're professionals, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I like how you put it. And too many coaches, I feel, don't see themselves as teachers. They see themselves as, I'm the boss.
they're a manager. They're, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like, you know, coaches, they'll put out their starting five, or they'll call plays for a football game, or they'll call the bullpen, put the lineup card up. Like that stuff I don't do. But I think while you're doing that, you're forgetting that you're also a teacher of the sport,
Hmm.
especially for youth sports. You know, I mean, all of us, even professionals, we can all get better. Like Mike Trout, you know, he he's a 5 tool player, but he can still improve on things, you know, and as crazy as that sounds, you know, I think even he'll say it, like there's always improvement in areas that there's always an improvement in certain areas that you could work on in your game. So I think when you have players that are learners and you're led by coaches who teach instead of just strictly manage, I think that's what coaches need to understand, is the fact that you are
Hmm.
teachers. You know, you don't throw your best players out there because right now you're just kind of, sometimes you're kind of micromanaging, and you're just kind of
Yep.
wanting,
Hmm.
you're kind of wanting to, you're, because I won't say names, but unfortunately I had a coach, you know, before, who, when I did play baseball, who always did that. You know, he was just a manager. He always wanted to put his best players out there. He played them the entire game, but he had these kids who were getting tired, and he had 5 kids on the bench who never got time. But it's like, you're supposed to be a teacher, and you're supposed to be it's a team. It's not the best players out there and your cheerleaders on the bench. You know what I mean? Um, but you know what? Again, you know, you have those competitive coaches who just want to win. You know, which I get it, I understand, but I think what goes longer than winning is seeing your team happy, working together, developing friendships, developing skills together. I love watching a team grow. I'd rather them fail and make 10 errors in a baseball game, but still have a smile on their face, have a lot of fun, and still grow up together, instead of winning, losing, and that's it, and nobody's having fun, you know?
Well, I think you said something crucial:
Yeah,
growing. Because too
yeah,
many times coaches at the youth level, well, technically at the pro level too, but at the youth level especially, and it's even more so high school and below, which is mostly the focus of what our movie is, they don't seem to care about the growth of that player. Because if you put kids who may not be playing that great at 8 years old,
yeah.
but if they never have a chance to hit a ball or to throw a ball or whatever
How are they going to
sport,
get
how
better?
can they get better? How can they develop themselves?
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many cases of players um, who are like, yeah, big, this skinny, you know, they can barely hit the ball out of the infield or barely make it to the basketball hoop or whatever the sport. And then by 18, 19, 20, or whatever it is, boom, explosion, right?
perfect.
And that's, we waste so much time on that at
Yeah,
the youth level. It drives me nuts.
yeah,
Uh, you can't. I think we as coaches forget too often the true meaning of competition,
yeah,
because competition is not about wins and losses. It has nothing to do with it.
yeah,
It's the end result sometimes of a competition, but
right.
that's not what it means.
Yeah,
To compete doesn't mean to win.
right.
And too often you have coaches, and I know unfortunately some of that is because, well, they have to make a living.
Of
Even
course.
at the youth level, they have to make a living. So if you never win a game, unfortunately, parents see that as, well, you must suck.
Yeah,
So then we get rid of you, we'll hire someone else. But I just don't understand how we cannot understand that what happens at 8 years old does not matter.
yeah,
But if you make the kids hate the ball, hate the game, whatever the ball, whatever the game, the puck, I mean anything, they are not going to be happy professionals if they ever make it that far.
it's the question you have to ask the coaches is, what is your priority? That's what it is. Let's go to the majors. You have Jose Altuve. I'm a small guy. Jose Altuve is smaller than me, which is crazy. And he's one of the best players in the game. I'm going to forget about the cheating scandal. We're not going to talk about that. But, he's still a very, very talented player. 28 teams didn't look at him because of his size. Look at Dustin Pedroia, when you go back to the Red Sox days. I think
so many.
They were
Remember
even Major League Baseball players and major players get overlooked, but you don't want to you don't want to dictate a person's capabilities and potential based off of what they're doing today. A lot of people do that. They see how they're playing today and they're like, oh yeah, this kid is never going to make it. Why are you making that judgment? You don't know where he's going to be 10 years from now,
Nope. Nobody does. You don't know what he's going to be next. You don't know what he's going to do in 6 months, let alone in 6 years or 10 years. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody knows, because anything can happen. Even someone as Sidney Crosby or LeBron James, they're going to be Hall of Fame when they come out. Yeah, but in an alternate universe, and thank God that did not happen. But what if somebody got hurt?
Yeah.
Or what if they woke up one morning and said, you know what, I don't want to play anymore?
Yeah.
Which it didn't. So we were blessed to see them play, but that could have happened.
Of course.
So we don't. I mean, it's not that simple. Nobody is anointed, and then they become, okay, you are the next Wayne Gretzky. You're the next Michael Jordan,
Of course. Yeah.
You aren't.
Absolutely. I have a similar story. One of my teenagers from the Boys and Girls Club, when he first picked up a baseball, I mean, I hate to say it, but I can tell this to him if he heard this. You'll laugh. It's so funny how he played because his mechanics were so off. He couldn't hit a baseball. He could, if you ask him to throw a baseball this way, it'll end up behind him, so but he loved the game. What I saw in him wasn't his skills, but it was his passion. And I think when you're passionate and your heart in the right place, and you really want to achieve something, you're gonna do whatever it takes. This kid, after a year, I mean, I remember he had a competition, and in his essay that he had to write, he wrote about his love of baseball. He actually put me in that essay because he told me the coaches cut him. At first, the coaches would cut him. He would never get time playing, but because he never gave up, and because he loved the game, and because I pushed him, I would tell him, no, you're not done. Like, keep doing this. Like, if you really want to play baseball and you want to make the team next year, you're going to have to change this. And he did it. Joel, what do you think happened? The following year, he tried out, he made the team, and he got to play. And it's these stories I love learning. And he'll tell you, his name is Andrew. I'll say his name. His name is Andrew. And Andrew will tell you that when he first started playing baseball, he didn't know what he was doing, but this kid loves the game so much. And that's what I focused on, because I knew his skills will get there because his passion and his heart is already there. So I helped him. I helped him with the skill, and then boom, now he plays baseball, and then now just one last thing too with I asked Sabathia, look at it this way, as a youth, you play a pivotal role as a youth coach. People don't realize that. A pivotal role. If you go and ask CC Sabathia who is the one person that has really helped him and mentored him, looked up to, he doesn't say any of his Yankee coaches. He doesn't say any of his college coaches. He said the person that he still talks to today. CC's like 40 right now. He talks to his baseball coach back in high school, still on to this day, because his coach believed in him when he was a 16, 17, 18-year-old and never gave up on CC. They still have a relationship two decades later. That's what I say. Being a youth coach is so pivotal in that turning point for any dream that a child wants to pursue. We play that role, and I think it's so important that we maintain building a relationship, caring, loving, just the patience with these people, because these kids will pick up in this age, you know, and hold on to that as they grow up, you know? So
that is so huge, what you're saying, because that's, I mean, it's really important
of course.
because when you have that kind of influence on a kid, you have achieved more than a win or a loss on a game.
100%.
Because I'm sorry, that just winning a game doesn't mean diddly squat at 8 years old, at 10 years old. Nobody knows what Greg Maddux did at 10 years old. Nobody knows what Babe Ruth was, his record. I mean, if you want to go even that big, nobody.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
But that's, you have to give from your heart to the kids.
Of course.
Because if you don't, the kids know it. They won't respect you. They won't follow you. Yeah, you may win some games, but they will stop playing pretty soon.
Yeah. Of course. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. So, you know.
I mean, there's just no other way to put it in my mind, because whether you're a 40-year-old like Sissy, and I'm sure it's still the same at the professional level. I mean, if you have coaches who treat you like crap all day long, you don't want to play, or you don't want to play for them, at least.
Of course,
And too many times, especially at a younger level, and very likely at a professional, there's no care. Coaches don't go the extra mile. Coaches don't seem to give a crap about their players and finding out. And you can tell so many times. You can see a kid and his body language or her body language is just off, and you go, wait, what's wrong with you? And too many coaches don't care. Get over it. Be tough. You know, stay strong, whatever. And it's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah, and you just mentioned something, how this can definitely happen in the professional league, how if you do play for a manager that isn't caring for their players, they wouldn't want to play for them. But here's the difference between playing in the pros and being a youth. As adults, we're able to balance that emotional level, right? Mm-hmm. And the mentality level. You know, you're an adult. Teenagers, if you don't care for a teenager when they're 13, 14, 15, 16, that can last a lifetime, believe it or not. And that's why I say the turning point, because kids, when they're in that preteen age, that's when their growing happens the most emotionally and mentally. And what do they say? Sports are usually mostly 90% mental. Well, they say that with baseball, 90% mental, 10% physical. That's what it is.
It's all sports.
Yeah, I believe it's all sports too. And I think that where the most growing is when you're a teenager, because, you know, I mean, besides the whole puberty stuff, but there's a lot of different things that teenagers are going through at that age. So if in the professional league, if you have a manager who doesn't show that they care about you versus a youth, and you have a coach that doesn't care about you, although they both suck, it could be more devastating for the younger person, because they'll take that to heart, you know, like
absolutely
for a while. So
well, not only that, but they also will not trust, and they will shut down, and they will feel like this, you know, very nervous, agitated. They don't feel comfortable. I mean, that goes a long way. Now, granted, again, as a professional, you can spend all day doing other things to compensate for maybe a quote unquote not a good coach. And you also have, you know, you have people that take care of you, massages and training and et cetera, et cetera. So you can really refocus your brain in a different. Kids don't. You have to go to school and do all this homework, and maybe your parents are divorcing, or you had a fight with your best friend, or you broke up with your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is. I mean, but those are not, for a 14-year-old, those things are huge.
Of course.
I mean, and you're not getting paid on top of it, so it's a lot more. It's not, and you have to go to practice. It's hard. I mean, I know that my favorite time with the kids is before practice starts, when they come in and they arrive, and we high-five, or I tease them, they tease me, and they tell me about their day.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the practice.
Yeah.
Not the drills, not the whatever we do during it's those few moments before practice when they just are so happy to see you, hopefully, and they share, and they're so excited to share, hey, coach, I got an A on my paper today, or whatever it is.
That's the most amazing thing, you know, and it's building that relationship. It's not just coaching them, it's mentoring them. It's listening to them, you know, like, you know, you'll have players that come to a game, and, you know, you build that relationship with them. They're not just going to be talking to you about baseball. They're going to be talking to you about things that are going on at home, you know, things that are going on because now they trust you, you know.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, you know, you're right. When I started playing baseball, when I first started playing baseball, my love for the game was just so high, but the way the coaching was made me not like it anymore, unfortunately. And it happened to me, and I really lost not the love of the game, but the love of playing the game. And when it turned
and
around,
that's horrible.
Oh yeah, and it happened. I mean, I remember, like, and like I said, I can get into stories about what really happened, but that'll take too long as to like how it was really horribly coached. But when it turned around was actually after high school, when my buddy asked me, hey, do you want to play in a men's softball league? And I said, I don't know. And I said that because I had a bad experience playing in leagues before because of coaching issues. Get this, I gave it a try, and slowly and surely, remember when I wasn't, you know, when I was struggling, like basically like I was playing and I wasn't hitting the ball because I had like a slump, like I would get bullied and picked on, or I wouldn't get played in high school. But when I played softball, they would always pat me on the shoulders and be like, you know, Nick, you'll get them next time. Those little things make such a big difference. I remember when I first started playing softball, I was so scared to mess up. You get so scared to mess up because you remember what happened.
Yes.
Because that softball team, we worked as a team. You know, we won the championship that year.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know what's crazy? In high school, the best record we had was 3-16. We were 2-17, then we were 3-16, and then we were like we were horrendous. But look at that. You can still win, but it starts with building your team. When your team can play together and mentally and emotionally you're there. I loved playing softball. I'm so glad I gave it a chance, and I didn't allow my past with high school baseball affect me playing softball. That was one of the honestly, we didn't think we were going to win the championship, and it's a very competitive men's league too. It was one of the biggest ones on Long Island, and I couldn't believe when we won the champion. It was like, it was so surreal, and we didn't win it with talented players. We won it because of heart, hustle, and teamwork.
But that's huge.
Yeah,
I say that all the time. You can always teach skills to a point. Yeah. I mean, obviously, somebody like a Jeter or A-Rod or, you know, Maddox, you know, so you're talking about Mike Trout. They're naturally ridiculous. I mean, that's whatever. They should be illegal. they're too good. I mean, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
They shouldn't play on this planet.
No, they should not. They are of a completely different planet. I mean, it's sickening how good they are. But the point is, most people are not Derek Jeter, right? Or most people are not Mariano Rivera that has like 1.5 pitches and no one can hit him.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. You know, you talk about, oh, you have to have 4 pitches and this and that. And Mariano comes in with 1.5-ish.
Yeah. He tells you what he's throwing. He'll tell the batter, yo, a cutter's coming, and he'll throw it, and they still get it.
Well, but you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hit it.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. What, he pitched for what, almost 20 years?
Yeah.
No, it's insane. You know it's coming, and you cannot hit it. I mean, it was he didn't even need the catcher to tell. I mean, everybody in the stadium knew what he
Yeah.
was going to throw.
Yeah.
And you still couldn't
And
hit it.
yeah.
But
Oh,
that's genius of a different level. There's just nothing you can do, right? I mean,
that's called abnormal. That's just not normal. That's just
no, that's
it's
not,
one of those.
you know, you can't. I mean, you just cannot. I mean, Tony Gwynn, they could hit every single ball. It was batting 340 or something insane, whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
And no, but those things, yeah, we're not talking about those type of ridiculous talent. But even they have to work hard, because
100%.
you cannot. Kobe Bryant used to say it all the time. Yeah, when he messed up a game, he would go back to the gym and he would play and play and play and play until he felt like he got it out of his system. But he was Kobe Bryant, right? Jordan, same thing. It's like, you're not gonna beat me the second time. You have to work hard, and most kids have to work hard.
You don't let you have to teach we have to teach our youth that it's okay to fail, because I think Jordan said it. There's a poster. I don't remember the saying, but he said something like his favorite shots were the ones that he missed. And the reason why is because he knew how to get better at it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in a slump, of course it's going to bring you down. If you're struggling, of course it's going to bring you down. But it's, I read something today. I think I saw it on Instagram, and it said, when you look at successful people, the really successful people, they got there because not just because they got there for no reason, because they worked their tail off. You know what I mean? So of course, all successful people, yes, you have the upper advantage if you are naturally gifted. You got genetics that you can, play sport. But that doesn't mean that you still don't work hard, No,
of course not. Absolutely. You have to study, you have to eat properly or whatever it is. But that's, I think, where we make a lot of mistakes. Coaches make a lot of mistakes because they punish you for making mistakes, where they should, it's not that they should reward you per se, but that's the perfect teaching moment in my mind. If somebody makes a mistake, okay, they screwed up, but isn't what practice is supposed to be about, where you do make all the mistakes and make more? Because if you make the mistakes, then you can correct it. You can say, hey, I did this. Yeah, that's not going to work. So let me try something else. That's when your mind goes free.
The more exciting part, like let's say, for example, a youth is trying to make the Major League Baseball, right? Let's just say for me, like I'm trying to play professional baseball. I think the most exciting part isn't making the Major League Baseball. It's the process. I think the process, because now you can look. The most exciting part is that, and that's how I look at it. I mean, growing up, having a pretty rough childhood, and then to see where I am today, it's like, oh my goodness, like the process is what I'm like, wow, like I started from so low, and yet, all the things that I'm doing, I never thought that this was going to happen, but it's because I never gave up. I never allowed my failures get the best of me. I learned from my mistakes. And I think that's what we need to remind youths, is the fact that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. That's why us as mentors, I don't even want to use a coach anymore, mentors, we
are.
We need to instill these values in our younger generation, and because it plays a lifetime. It's not just you teach them at 14 and they just learn it at 14 years old. Those things stick to them for the rest of their life, and it starts then.
They do. One of my favorite moments coaching or teaching, or both, is when I screw up, when I'm trying to show something to the kids, and I laugh about it. I said, yeah, don't do what coach did, just do what I told you to do, and I laugh and I make a stupid joke. But that relaxes the kids, because they realize, hey, even coach makes
mistakes.
So,
I love it.
And he's laughing about it. So that means that, okay, it's not the end of the world if I do it. Coach did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
But I notice when that happens, the mood changes completely.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that if we are as teacher, do what I say, I know everything, you don't know anything, that's it.
Right.
That's never going to work, because kids are going to be scared of you.
Yeah.
They're going to be freaking out. They're never going to give their 100%, because they don't, first of all, they don't know what that is.
Right.
Because too many coaches tell their kids, be tough, fight, work harder, but without ever contextualizing it.
Yeah.
So there's no understanding of what that means.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because work hard for you, it's different than what it is for me.
Absolutely.
In general term. But if I tell you, hey, go out there and swing the bat 10 times, I mean, I'm just making some ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do that. You understand that. You'll take the bat, you swing it 10 times. I mean, like I said, I'm making some ridiculous example, but that you understand. Like, okay, or if I say take a ball and kick it against the wall for 20 minutes. A kid understands that. Okay, let me put my clock. I'll time myself. I kick the ball against the wall for 20 minutes. That I understand. But just to tell them, go work hard, what does that mean?
What is it? Exactly. Yeah. You're absolutely
right. It doesn't mean anything. It's such an abstract concept that can mean anything.
Right.
But you don't, and kids, well, I think all kids in general, I mean, whether you teach math or you teaching baseball, it's all the same. You have to make them understand a certain concept according to how that particular kid learns.
Yeah, absolutely. Each kid has a different learning foundation. For me, like, you just mentioned teaching in school. For me in school, I'm not a learner by opening up a textbook and reading it. I'm a visual learner. So when teachers would pull up on the screen and show examples, and show pictures and shows videos and stuff like that, I learn best by that way. But if you give me a textbook and ask me to read it, and I don't learn that way, but other students learn that way. So it's really all depends on, again, how you're learning about each individual student. Because our baseball players, or excuse me, our youth players that we're coaching, they're students of the game, right? But each student is different. Some student may want to train by themselves and they're okay with shooting around with their friends and they develop that way. But others need a mentor around them. They need to work on, let's just say, their weight. Okay, so you give them some training stuff so they can work on getting more fit. Some people have talent but they're not flexible enough, so you do a lot of ladders and agility training. So you're right, every person learns differently. So if you're gonna teach a classroom or a whole team, the best thing to do is to learn first thing to do is to learn each individual and then put those pieces in place to see how they can grow as a team, And I think that's where it stems from. But the key word, Joel, very, very key word, patience. That is so important and so pivotal, because you need to be patient with young people. If they struggle a lot, but you see their heart and their passion is there, and you see they want it, and you see they're hungry for that goal, but it's just taking them a long time to, let's just say, lose weight, or let's say to hit a baseball or whatever, or throw a baseball harder. Everything takes time. If you teach patience and you show patience to your young people, that helps them grow even more. That helps them become more comfortable with you. That helps them to trust you more. And I think that's so pivotal, especially with young people. You have to be patient with them. So.
Yes, because and that's the one thing that I love about coaching and teaching, is to see them grow.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's nothing more exciting that you say something to the kids and you can see in their eyes that they got it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like, it's the best. Or where they come and they say, hey, coach, and they just want to share something with you.
Yeah.
That means that you've done something enough that they trust you enough to share key moments, I just love that. I just absolutely love it. It's just like, I had one of my girls, the girls I coach, she was unfortunately we had to cut off our practices after 3 or 4 because of COVID. But she was telling me, what was it? It was, I think, the first or the second practice. She asked me, very serious, and I think I might have told you this before. She was like, coach, I have to ask you something. I'm like, okay. Like, am I going to be the goalie? And I looked at her and I said, I mean, what do you want to be the goalie? I mean, like, I don't know. If you want to be the goalie, sure.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't. And I said, okay. Well, of course, now I'm curious and I want to know, okay, why are you even asking me then?
Right.
And she says, well, because everybody always told me that I can only play in goal. And I was like, I had seen this girl twice. I mean, I was like, okay, how would I know if you're a goalie? I don't know. And I said, why do you say that? She said, well, because everybody says I'm too fat and too slow. 8 years old. And I looked at her and I said, look, first of all, you're not fat and you're not slow.
Yeah.
Because she isn't.
Yeah.
She's neither. She's short, but she's not fat and not slow. And besides, even if she was fat and slow,
if she was, it doesn't matter. You don't,
who cares? Regardless, I mean, that's it. Completely, who cares? But and I told her, I said, look, especially at this age, I'd like everybody to play every position, because if not, you don't understand the game if you don't see it from different parts. I don't care if you're making mistakes, but I feel like you should play different zones of the field, whether it's goalie or forward and anything in between, and learn.
Right.
And because what you think is better for you may not be, because maybe you're better at another position. And besides, you're 9 years old.
Yeah.
Who cares? Just learn positions, right? But I see so many times today, you're playing third base, or you're playing center, you're playing point guard, or whatever it is.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, how do you know?
Yeah.
Wasn't like one of the greatest shortstop of all time started at third base? You know, Cal Ripken, right? He started at third and then became Hall of Fame shortstop. I mean, so it's like, So, I mean, where is it written that you need to, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. When you were speaking, you actually brought up another issue that's going around, and it's bullying. It's bullying. That was one of my stories, actually, is the fact that you don't being, unfortunately, because the school that I went to, I had played on a team, and I was the only colored kid, and I would get picked on every time I made a mistake. And that was one of the reasons too, as to why it kind of just brought me down, because sports was my outlet. And that's another thing too, that people don't realize. I'm sure, that's why I don't hold grudges or anything, but I'm sure back then, if those teammates and the coaches knew what I was going through outside of the sport, and how I was having like a tough home life. Mm-hmm. If they understood, like for me, like I played sports not only because I loved baseball, but because it was my outlet, because it was my go-to when I was going through all my stuff. That was my stress reliever. So that's why it meant more to me than most kids. But you don't know that, like people are quick to bully. And so, like I said, like that girl that you just mentioned, like I feel for her, because it's like I was one of my heart. Oh my God, I was one of the smallest ones on the baseball team, right? I was like the leadoff hitter and stuff, but I played on and off and on and off. But whether I was bad or good, like that doesn't dictate you, or my size, or my skin color. It doesn't dictate you should bully somebody, because you don't know what they're really going through. So going back to that girl, none of us knows, because you said that you had just seen her twice too.
Yeah.
Maybe she's going through a tough home life. Maybe her parents are going through something, or whatever the case is. Maybe she is very insecure about herself. but she loves the game of soccer. And then she starts playing soccer and she's like, oh, yay, now I can make friends. I can now get my mind out of my home life. Boom. Then she gets that comment, oh, you're fat and you can't play. Dude,
That ruins you forever. I mean,
yeah.
how much did it bother her? That's what I was thinking. She doesn't even know who I am yet because we just started practices. And just the fact that it really affected her already.
That she had to ask you.
That she had to ask me, right? It's
crazy.
And I just looked at her and I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then the first thing you want to say is like, who the hell said this to you?
Yeah, of course.
Because I got to slap this person around.
Yeah.
Because it's like an idiot or multiple idiots.
Right.
Because it's like, whether she was 400 pounds or she's 4 pounds, I mean, being silly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. She's 8 or 9. Who the hell knows what she's going to do at 19?
Yeah.
Let's make her feel good about herself,
Exactly.
It's just like, I don't understand. I really don't get it.
But Joel, this is why we're here, right?
Yeah.
This is why we're here. I think that coaching a sport is one thing, but that's only part of the process when you're dealing with youths. You're gonna coach. You're of course, like, when you're again, I'm gonna use baseball. As a coach, you do have to put the lineup card. You do have to aim to win. It's part of the game. You want to win, of course. It's part of the game. But the key word is part of the game. It's not the game. It's not winning is the game. It's part of it. Meaning that you forgot about the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, the psychological aspect, the physical aspect, being a friend, the trustworthy aspect, building, like, there's so many different roles that you play as a coach, right? And I think that more coaches need to learn that, right? And here's one thing too. Sometimes I think coaches mismanages because they were also mismanaged when they were younger. Who knows? That's why I don't like judging, because like I had one pretty rough coach one time, but who knows? Maybe he was bullied growing up too. Maybe he was mismanaged too. So because he never talked about it and vented about it and dealt with it, he built that stuff up. So as an adult, you're just full of anger. And when you're full of anger, you're going to take it out on, oh, now I really want to win because, you're angry because of what happened 10 years ago. That's why I say we play such a pivotal role dealing with youths, their learning process, because you don't know what can stem as they get older, So
no, but what you said is so key too, because kids go through whatever it is that they go through, and coaches, of course, you, me, and everybody else who coaches, we're human beings too. It's hard for us too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing though, as adults or older people, we know what our words, or should know what we say affects the kids, because a lot of coaches don't understand that what we say matters long term. Like if you say something negative, because too many coaches think, oh, you're being a snowflake, right? Oh, you want to make everybody soft.
Yeah.
No, that's not the point.
Right.
But you can give directions. You can constructive criticism.
Yeah.
You can build camaraderie. You can build competition within the team too, all the positive ways.
Of course.
If you do it properly.
Yes.
Because there's nothing wrong with criticizing something or say, hey, do it like this or whatever correction.
Criticism is a part of learning.
Absolutely. But how we say it, whether it's a boy or a girl, whether it's a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old, whatever it is, right? It matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they read you. The kids read you, because I'm always said, and I will say that till I die, kids are smarter than adults.
Yeah.
Way smarter. It's not even close. I mean, the level of intelligence kids have, we suck.
Yeah.
Because they're more aware, they're more intuitive, they can see things very quickly. So if you say, and they can see it in your body. And I think too many, and look, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I'm sure you have made mistakes. We all have made mistakes.
Of course.
We all have said the wrong things, and then you go, oof, crap, I should not have said that.
Yeah, of course.
And you go like, ooh, man, that was really, what was I thinking? We all do it. We're guilty. We're all guilty.
Yeah.
But I think a sign of a good coach is when you say, okay, I screwed up there. I'll make sure the kids understand that I messed up. And then we move on, rather than, well, I messed up. It was horrible. Yeah, but we won the game. So let me do this again. Right?
Yeah. Again, it's where your priorities are. You know, it's what do you value about the game of baseball? I think when high schools and leagues wanna hire coaches, you know, I think that should be part of like the interview process is what is your end goal? Like, what are you trying to develop here? You know, it's about developing. It's not like, oh, you think you can bring a championship here? I mean, yes, of course. Like I said, it's great. Of course, it's great winning a champion.
We all love winning. Yeah, we all love winning.
Championship, like it was the most amazing thing. But what was even more amazing is the fact that we weren't supposed to be there, and we worked as a team, and we freaking won the whole thing. Like I still can't believe that onto this day. And so I think that you know, another thing too that's really important is disciplining. You know, we are there to discipline. Now, you mentioned critique when you said making criticism. That goes with disciplining, because the thing is that I've had experiences where you have young players who are cocky. Where do they get that from? They can probably get that from the parents. Oh, you don't have to listen to coach. You could do whatever, or maybe whatever. They think that they're the best on the team. And even if they are talently wise, they're the best on the team. If you show the other kids that you continue playing him because he's talented, but he's not a hard worker, that also affects the entire team. Yep. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that, like, you know, for me, it's like, you know what, like if I do ever get back into coaching or whatever, like that's one thing that I know I will address is the fact that, like, I don't care if you're the best on the team. I care if you're the most hardworking. Right. So if you decide that you want to be cocky, you want to be a best player, because, you know, teenagers, sometimes they can give attitude and, you know, they're going through all this emotion.
Yeah, that happens.
It happens. So, but if you think that, you know, you're the best, and yeah, you might be the best, but you're going to sit down this game and you're going to watch it. You're going to watch the kids who worked hard. Right. And you're going to learn that it's about working hard and working as a team, not trying to highlight yourself. And again, you don't know where that comes from. It might not even come from that kid. It's probably coming from another source. So that keyword disciplining, but disciplining appropriately, critiquing appropriately, you know, that all goes into the learning process.
So, because I know we have to wrap it up, what's for you coming up? Like, what's in the post-COVID future?
Post-COVID future, you know, I'm just, man, Joel, I wear a lot of hats, man, like a lot, like.
But that's good. You're a Renaissance man.
Yeah, I'm helping. I'm doing a lot of outreaches, helping the community, putting together mentoring programs, working with youth groups. I love the youth, so I really work with that. Sports wise, you know, I don't know. That's gonna happen for a while. I know I'm not gonna be going to a Yankee game anytime soon, or
sadly
working with some players anytime soon. But, you know, I honestly, like, I want to learn. You know, I think I told you this before. Like, you know, I started learning about real estate. This whole time, the real estate financing. I want to learn about photography, videography. I mean, we're talking about a movie. Like, I've been a part of a couple of movie premieres, and I want to learn how the production part goes, you know, because I love just learning different skill sets and being open to different things, you know? So it's like, right now it's just me learning, helping, and just kind of growing. I'm 23 years old. I don't know if I mentioned that to you or in the interview, but I'm 23. I just turned 23 too a couple months ago. And so
you got time.
Yeah, I'm still learning and growing, and I just want to help. My end goal is to make a difference. however I can make a difference. You know, it's not about making a million billions. Again, if I make a lot of money, cool. You know, but
Yeah, you're not gonna give it back. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's more about what, how can I make a difference? Whether it's in the sports, in the charity world, you know, I want to travel more and really want to help out on the countries. And I've already started doing that. I've been helping out the Philippines and stuff, and I've been working with other coaches too to put together some clinics in other countries like the DR, the Philippines, and stuff.
Yeah.
So my hands are in a lot of projects, but I'm excited, man. It's a lot of exciting things.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no, no. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.